Violation number 1 came at Imola when the Benetton onboard computer software was found to have an illegal launch control system that the FIA claim was not fully deactivated. Was it in the system? Yes, it was. Did Schumacher use it? Nobody knows that. But in France, tongues wagged again after Schumacher's blistering start, suggesting again that this could have been electronically aided.
At the green light, Schumacher makes a remarkable getaway to burst through the front row into the lead.
Well, Benetton's chief designer Ross Braun confirmed that in fact the launch control could be activated with a simple laptop.
In 1994, under the leadership of Flavio Briatore, Benetton clearly had the package to challenge for the title.
You know what? This champion, we deserve this champion in a big way, because everybody done the best to take away the champion to us. We had the best car with the best driver, because the second car was not like the first car, okay?
For Benetton and Briatore, this was the start of a catalogue of controversy. At the British Grand Prix, Schumacher had been out-qualified by Damon Hill and tried to make a psychological point by sprinting ahead of the Williams on the formation lap. This was illegal, but the stewards were slow in conveying their decision of a 5-second stop-go penalty. Tom Walkinshaw tried to use this to the team's advantage, and the black flag was ignored.
It's a stop-and-go penalty.
A 2-race ban and a hefty fine would follow.
Schumacher's off. Schumacher's lost time.
Yeah.
Hill goes by.
Oh, out goes Schumacher. The German is out of the Australian Grand Prix, and Damon Hill only has to keep going to be world champion of 1994. But can he keep going? Because he hit Schumacher's car. And if Damon Hill has to retire and you see smoke pouring off the wheel, that will mean that Schumacher will be world champion. What an incredible development.
And Patrick Head there's looking at that left front wishbone. Hill shaking his head. He knows in his heart of hearts that it is all over.
Michael Schumacher, scarcely able to believe his luck, is, I think, unashamedly weeping tears of joy.
A 125.9 on that last lap. I wonder if he's got something like a slow puncture or some kind of gear shift problem, because Villeneuve is all over him. Look, he's going through. Oh, yes. I don't think.
Out goes Michael Schumacher.
That didn't work. That didn't work, Michael. You hit the wrong part of him, my friend. I don't think that will cause Villeneuve a problem.
Michael Schumacher out. Now, this is a replay of the World Championship in 1994, when Schumacher and Hill had a coming together. And if Villeneuve can just keep going in the points, he's won the World Championship of 1997, because out of the race goes Michael Schumacher. He retires on lap 48. Well, this is what we feared would happen, that there would be a collision, a racing accident, and Jacques Villeneuve now has a clear track in front of him as off goes Michael Schumacher.
Well, I don't think there's Villeneuve going on his way. I don't think Michael's going to be seeing the Williams stuck in the pits as he did with Damon Hill those years ago. I think he's got a problem. He's 29.4 on that lap. Villeneuve's got it. Look, now watch the contact. There's Schuey going in. Look, he did hit, his rear wheel did hit Villeneuve's rear wheel. Villeneuve may have a slow puncture. He may have some suspension damage. He's 5 seconds off the pace at the moment. This championship is still not decided. Now watch. He takes a dive up the inside. He put himself in a position we talked about not to give Michael a chance. Michael realises, look, Villeneuve's on the track. Michael hits him. We can't see the contact there from that camera angle, obviously, but it depends on whether he made contact with those rear wishbones. They are not very strong. Now we're going to see it. Now we're going to see from Michael Schumacher's car. Villeneuve, watch him slice up the inside. Now watch his hands. Does Schuey turn in? Well, he's turning into the corner, but his rear wheel may have just done enough damage to knock Villeneuve's car out of the race. Villeneuve lapping 5 seconds a lap slow. see again, this is very timely for me. We see it again. Watch him turn in. The front wheel hits the side pod. The rear wheel hits his rear wheel, but face on. And they're strong enough in that direction. And Villeneuve goes on his merry way.
The way he hit me was really, really hard. I'm surprised that I could actually finish the race. You know, I couldn't go more on the inside. I was actually on the grass. You know, either Michael had his eyes closed or somehow his hands slid on the steering or something.
The move was universally condemned.
I can't understand it, how Jacques got so close all of a sudden. How Michael left the door open, I don't know. But, you know, if it was his problem, then maybe it's justice in a way, you know, as sad as it is.
Whether there will be any punishment for Michael Schumacher. You saw his head cock over. He looked, he went in there deliberately, and it could have cost the other guy the title. Here it is, premeditated, in he goes, exactly what he did in '94. And Damon said to us the other night he didn't think he'd risk doing it again because it would be such bad PR, and he's done it.
No doubt in either of your minds that was a deliberate and a foul manoeuvre by Michael Schumacher.
It looked absolutely clear. He knew he was going to lose the lead. His car was faltering, and that was his final effort to hang on to the championship.
Well, I wasn't really surprised when he finally decided to turn in on me. It was a little bit expected.
As I said before, I probably wouldn't have done anything different.
And you know, how many times have we heard Michael praised? I hope there's enough praise for the way Jack drove today, because he outdrove Michael, and Michael cracked exactly the same as he did in '94.
Special hearing of the sport's governing body after the controversial end to this year's championship. It follows his collision with Jacques Villeneuve in the blue car during yesterday's European Grand Prix in Spain. Schumacher, who went out of the race, said today he couldn't understand the accusations that he drove into Villeneuve on purpose.
He was to blame for that controversial crash in Sunday's Grand Prix. It was my mistake, he said. But was it deliberate? On that, he was keeping quiet. Peter Staunton reports.
The flags outside Ferrari's headquarters were still flying proudly today. Inside, though, what had been planned as a World Championship celebration had turned into a wake, as the team manager and its drivers tried to explain how it had all gone wrong. And from Michael Schumacher, a rare admission. Despite initially blaming Villeneuve for the accident, he said it had been his mistake.
I never said I know everything about Formula One, and the case proved that I'm a human being as everyone else, and unfortunately I'm doing mistakes. And that was one of my mistakes. I don't do many, but it was one.
What he didn't admit to was deliberately trying to put Villeneuve out of the race, which even his most ardent Italian supporters have been criticising him for. His only apology for the Tifosi, the country's fanatical racing fans.
I couldn't give to all the Tifosis and the Ferrari team what they expected me to deliver. And that's something I'm very sorry about.
Now the sport's governing body will decide whether losing the title is punishment enough. Peter Staunton, ITN Sport.
Paul escaped virtually scot-free for deliberately crashing into Jacques Villeneuve during the final Grand Prix of the season. There was no fine and no ban, as the sport's ruling body just disqualified him as runner-up in this year's championship. Our sports correspondent, Graham Miller, reports.
Michael Schumacher managed to smile as he arrived for his appearance at motor racing's High Court. He skillfully negotiated the attentions of the media to face the president of the FIA, Max Mosley, and the other judges of the sport's governing body. Schumacher confessed it was deliberate when he rammed his Ferrari into Jacques Villeneuve's Williams in the European Grand Prix, but it wasn't premeditated, nor was it meant to prevent Villeneuve from winning the title. The court agreed, so no fine or ban, but Schumacher was stripped of his runners-up spot in the championship.
You're taking it seriously, but the fans may consider that you've got off lightly here.
I mean, I don't believe that, because the fans lose a second position with Michael Schumacher in the Ferrari in the World Championship, which, I mean, if you go 2-3 years backwards, the fans would have been very, very happy to be second in the World Championship.
They are human beings. Michael Schumacher may be one of the great drivers of all time, but he is a human being, and every now and then he will make a mistake.
In Monaco, grid position is everything. What's going on? Well, whatever it is, the waved yellow flags ensure Alonso has no chance of setting pole position. Michael gestures angrily, but it's too late now. The session is over. And the verdicts are in.
I don't think it's fair. It's not fair at all against the drivers and against all Formula One people.
We know he's got a lot of tricks. We know he's got a lot of tricks, but whether this one today was real, we'll probably only find out when he's 70, when he's had a glass of red every now and again.
Having seen the slow motion of the car and its motion as it was going in and in the middle and at the end of Rascasse, I have to believe that he could have avoided leaving the car where it was.
I just think it's cheap for the sport, you know. And somebody who's prepared to do cheap things like that should really consider if he's in the right sport, you know. Maybe he should do something. I think the time has come he should do something else.
The discussions continue long into the evening between Renault, Ferrari and the FIA. So how does Michael defend what happened in the light of a penalty?
Watch the video and you see that I pushed hard, locked up, started sliding and run out of road, which is the consequence here in Monte Carlo. You have your enemies and you have the people that believe in you, and whoever wants to go one or the other direction, I will not be able to convince them anyway. I mean, that's what they want to think or not think, but I'm there for many, many years, and people should know better who I am and what I am after all these years.